So if you remember from the very beginning of my talk, I've had the pleasure to work with some very financially well-off people and had a lot of dealings with people like that in Miami. And I'll tell you, there's a line between making a lot of money and being broke. Money does not buy you happiness. It's a cliche, but I've seen some of the most wealthy, miserable people in Miami Beach living it up, downing bottles of champagne. So what I would say is you definitely have to find a way to, if your goal is financial independence, you definitely have to find a way to make money, right? To afford to come to places like this, to go do the things that you want, to be healthy, to afford good quality food, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you need to be, there needs to be a balance between what you're passionate about doing and how much you make for that. But there's a tremendous opportunity. And as far as like what guys should know, I would say if you're in your 20s, invest in yourself and try to figure out a path to become, to go down that path of mastery. For me, it's health and fitness, even though I spoke about something different. For Bravo, he just said he's coming back to this self-defense thing. For Tanner, it's style. So find something to really focus on, because if you're not focused, you're going to have trouble making money in a career. And whether you work for yourself or you end up working for another person in a business, which that's okay too. But find something you're passionate about, something that you can strive to be great at, and the money will come as a byproduct. But in the meantime, as you're putting your work in, there's some struggle involved, right? But just don't think that you're going to get the money at the end of the day and it's all going to be good. If you forget that other part, you're going to be like those sad individuals in Miami Beach that I see all the time who are driving around their Lambos and have their yachts in multi-million-dollar places, and you right now are in a better position than those people are.
Just a quickie. That's what she said. Yeah. So with money, I think what Ted said there was great, and I guess to add to that, I think that's all I can do really. There is my personal goal is to be free of money. My biggest asset is my health, and then my time. And if I can follow my purpose, have all my needs accounted for, and it doesn't cost me anything, then I've won. I want to free myself from that game of having to make money. When I was a kid, I'd see on TV, you'd have the cartoons when you got home from school, and then there'd be the news. And it'd be like, the pound fell today. Actually, I come from England, so the pound is like, whoa! Yeah, the Brexit. But, that was like the most boring thing on TV. Right? And then as I got older, I'm like, I have to pay attention to this. But secretly, my inner child is like, this is still so boring. So I started to pay attention instead of following my heart and following my mind, following my gut. Money is like ether. It's like invisible. Money doesn't exist. You may have heard that before. When we have a banknote, it's just a representation of trust between two people, of value. And you can create money out of nothing. So what I would suggest is to educate yourself as much as you can, as much as it's fun and enjoyable, to learn about money. A great book to start with, which I found very useful, is The Richest Man in Babylon. That's a great book of principles. Another very good book, which is more modern, is The Millionaire Next Door. And it talks about, the world's most wealthy people aren't what you think they look like. They're not rappers, they're not necessarily celebrities. They have very humble lives, the richest of the rich. And so those would be my suggestions. So the ultimate goal, I think you win the money game when you're free of money. I would just like to just build on what this gentleman was saying about leaving the accountancy firm. Find out what you're scared of. Find out what a lack of money means to you, what poverty means to you. You may have experience of that already, but if you haven't, lean into it. Exist with no money. See what it's like. I believe it was Socrates, other Socrates, the original Socrates. He walked around He spent a couple of days a month, as I understand, just living in poverty because that was his greatest fear. So he embraced it, and then he he developed strength over that fear, and so it was never holding him back after that. Because when you're looking for something like money, you may be looking at it from a source of of lack, so you need it, or money may be a byproduct because you're doing something you love. And I think that's the best way to get that harmony there. So that's just all I'd say about that.
Cool. Great things. I'm just going to add, well, first let me ask you a question. What does financial independence mean to you? How much is that? Oh, so he said, okay, so he said $100,000 a year. Okay, cool. So on that note, on that goal, I think it's quite attainable, and to the point where you can have a lifestyle business, still have lots of leisure time, and yet because of the power of the internet, you could make the $10,000 a month. Now, here's the key. Instead of focusing on your need for money, fall in love with your customer. So think about, you can get enough, somebody said this, I can't remember who, maybe you guys can remind me. Somebody said, you can get everything you want if you give enough people what they want. And I would add, if you can get enough people more of what they want. So you have to think in terms of what value are you bringing to other people. If you ask that question instead of, how can I make money? It's, how can I help people? And if you help people enough, and enough people, you're gonna get paid. No problem. And with the internet now, everybody can just start a website, put out content, and get a following, and then start to see the fruits of that at 10K. Beyond that, I was just say one other thing. I kind of stagnated as far as business-wise. Like I hit that lifestyle income, and then I just coasted and did other things. And the business really came to a fore for me more because I saw a 20-year goal for me. And my 20-year goal was, I still very strongly want to help children around the world in bad situations, right? Like I spent like a year just researching the heck out of things like Save the Children, UNICEF, and how to, actually thinking about, I'll just go into that full time. But I didn't have a skill set that would add massive value to what they're doing yet. And the way I see as far as the business operations go is I'm learning these business operations so that 20 years from now, I can step into a nonprofit and make and influence and help thousands and thousands of people find happiness and health. And that's what drives me. I'm not doing it for me. I got enough money. In fact, I have too much free time. And now, I did a couple years ago, and now I got serious about business, not for me, but for what I want to do 20 years from now to help children, and to have trust funds for the people I love. That's what drives me, not me. There's only so much pleasure I can take. It's for other people. So once you find the why involving others, that drives you to do all that extra work, especially at the beginning when you're setting it up, and then finding out, how can I bring value to the customer? Then you'll get on the right path.